Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Season 2, Episode 15, Mazes and Mutants. I'm glad this show is finally back because before it actually came on, I was trying to figure out when it did come back, and we only have, I believe, 3 episodes left in this season. At least that's what I saw on the series list on Wikipedia. It just showed a couple more episodes. But this show comes on and goes off so much, it's hard to keep up with it sometimes. But it's finally back. We have a couple more episodes. I hope it's more than just the 3 that are actually on the list. One is to be announced, so they have at least this episode and the next episode already on that list, and then the third is to be announced. So I'm hoping that that means there are more episodes to be added to that, but typically they know how many are going to be in this season, and that means we really only have 3 left, which really sucks. But this is a really good episode. It was one of the one-off episodes. It had nothing to do with a main storyline or anything like that. It's been forever since the show's been on. I feel like it's probably been a month or 2. I think it's been about 2 or 3 months. Really, it's been a long time. But we come back in this episode, and it's just a good, silly episode. It's Mazes and Mutants, which is, of course, for anyone who's not nerdy enough, is a reference to the board game Dungeons and Dragons. And it's just a really funny episode with tons of references. They have references to Dungeons and Dragons, of course. They have their typical anime reference with them, with I believe it was Donnie and Raphael watching the show that they always watch. And the guy just pulls out a rocket launcher, and they did the normal, typical stuff that they do in anime, where the dubbing is really bad, in old anime at least. The dubbing was really bad. It's a lot like Voltron, because the characters, it's 5 characters, one is a monkey, and then they all have different colors, so it's just like Voltron. And it was just a funny little clip that really didn't have anything to do with the rest of the episode, but it was a funny little part that they had in there. And actually, that was one of my favorite ones that they've had in the sort of anime things that they watch on TV, especially because they called it out where Raph was looking like, where'd he get the bazooka? And Donnie mentions how he has some theories, but they're not pleasant because they would be out of his butt. It was a really funny episode with references to Dungeons and Dragons. The second biggest reference was, of course, to Lord of the Rings, which isn't really hard to imagine. They did the Precious with Michelangelo, where he had his +1 ring of awesome through the whole episode, which was really funny. They had Donnie actually say "You shall not pass," which is a very huge nerdy thing to have in there. They called the turtles the Fellowship of Turtles in there. But it was just a really good episode, and they go up against Sir Malachi, who turns out to just be this kid who was really nerdy and loved mazes and mutants. And one day he became a mutant, and he actually gained the ability to make people see what he wanted them to see, which is actually a really great power. He just looks like a pigeon. So he got a really bad look, but he actually got one of the coolest powers they've actually had for the mutants in this show so far, where he could create illusions for people, as where everyone else just mutates and they get whatever physical attributes come with that. Like people who turn into plants get plants. They might get pods and stuff that like that they can shoot off. But typically no one gets really cool like actual powers. He has like mental abilities. So it was cool to get that in this episode, where we see an advancement to what the mutants can actually get when they're hit with the mutagen. But it turns out this guy wasn't trying to be a villain or anything like that. He was just a lonely kid who was LARPing by himself. And it was so funny when he said that, and Michelangelo was doing this really high-pitched voice. But it was a really good episode. I thought it was really funny. It was cool to see the turtles sort of dressed up in their LARPing clothes. And Michelangelo had his bows and stuff like that. And Leo had his whole night thing going. He kind of looked like Galactus to me because it had like the points to it. It just made me think of Galactus for some reason. But they were all decked out. Raphael was the dwarf barbarian, and then of course Donnie was the sage, or the not the sage, but the wizard. So he had the long beard and the staff with the snow globe on top, which I thought was just really funny. But overall, it was just a one-shot episode, but it was a really good one. I thought it was really funny, and I'm excited to see the next episodes because I know the next one has to do with Baxter Stockman and stuff. So I'm very excited to see that, and hopefully these aren't the last 3 episodes, because I'd hate for the show to have been off for however long it's been off, and then it comes back and we just get 3 episodes, probably 4, because the season finale will most likely be an hour long. But we'll just have to wait and see. It's probably only going to be these next 3 episodes, and hopefully it's because they just had to do that for this season, so they cut it and then brought it back to end the last three to sort of end with pretty much every other show on TV that's ending right now with their season finales. And then it'll come back on later in the summer because I believe last time the season came on, it was sort of mid to late summer. So they'll hopefully do that again where we get these couple of little episodes and then it's like, hey, you don't have to wait too long, but it'll still once again be like months from now, and then we'll get all of season three, or at least most of season three. And I hope they don't keep doing it this way. I'd actually rather just wait a longer time and it just comes on every single week, and maybe they skip 1 week because one of the episodes was the mid-season finale, or they skip the typical amount of weeks that every show does when they do the mid-season finale for the Christmas slash New Year holidays. That's perfectly fine, but hopefully they start doing that rather than the weird breaks that they always seem to have in the show. Even in season one, it's like we know the show isn't canceled, but it just has so many weird breaks and stuff in it. It's just annoying to deal with, but the show is great, so even when it's annoying like that and goes off for months and then comes back on for 3 episodes, it's still worth watching because we get episodes like this which are just really funny even though they have nothing to do with the main story, which honestly at this point I can't even remember. I don't even remember what the last episode was to this show, but I know they beat the bad guys and that's pretty much all I need to remember. And then we get some more stuff with Shredder and the Krang in the next 2 episodes and season finale, which I don't know how they're going to really lead up to that because I do remember a little bit about the last episode, which was the big 1 hour thing, and I thought that was the season finale honestly because nothing came on after that and it was an hour-long special. I just thought they weren't saying it's the season finale, but it was just like, hey, let's just make a hour-long special, and it was a really great special. It could have easily been the season finale, but I don't know. I hope that the actual season finale does live up to that episode because it was an amazing episode that incorporated all of the characters, and then they do that and we go on hiatus for however long and we come back with only 3 episodes left. I'm really hoping that the season finale does live up to what they left off on the last time. But comment below, let me know what you guys thought of this episode, favorite parts, least favorite parts, and tell me what was your favorite reference in this episode, and what do you guys think is going to happen for the rest of this season. Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.